Hello, 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 Ebusiafo. How are you guys all doing? I hope say nyame adom. Ye nyina ye ho ye. Ene me my late kakra. But I had a number of things that I needed to do first. Tansan ma be disa nkomo we. Afei no my rounds ni nyina wie. Na mabetena se ampese ye ka asem yi. I know it's a bit later than I normally would talk about Nneema bi, but afei na mmerɛ ama me kwan. Enti wabɛto so a mekyia wo. Mesrɛ wo, sɛ wotie me na wonya follow Sika Educate page na, you're not being nice to me. Please follow Sika Educate page no. Na afei kɔ YouTube sesi a na kɔkɔ subscribe. Topic na yɛba ba discuss no emu edu kakra enti mepɛsi ekodi asa kakra na yɛhyehye yɛn ho pɛsɛ wokɔ sɛ nsuo bi nom a wakɔ akɔpɛ nsuo no na fei yɛde nkɔmɔ na ba bɛhyehyɛ so. It's quite a bit of a heavy topic, but we still need to talk about it because ene no mehunu ne sɛ certain yokes and bondages a ɛfa saa topic yi a mepɛsi yɛka ho asɛm no, they need to be broken today. And yebedi sa nkomo no ba ansa na no yenkotwa ye ho kakra na fi yemfa nkomo no emra mehyehyɛ so. Enti wa beto so a mechiaw Ekuya Sika will be right back.
Sika Educate, yeah, what Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. Sika Educate, yeah, Casafa, Abumde, our real name, Sika Educate, or don't come up, run, yeah, who are true. Sika Educate, Unyane, baby, Sika Educate, ain't like it, page, and I am vibe. But more than YouTube, subscribe it. Sika Educate is the name. All our man them source and the campo. Inspiration, motivation. Modern education. Wafranada, when it's here, or don't come or Ekusika deba. Wafranada, Bema, Jai, or don't come or Ekusika deba. Sika Educate, yeah, what Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. Sika Educate, yeah, Casafa, Abumde, our real name, Sika Educate, or don't come up, run, yeah, who are true. Sika Educate.
Ekuya Sika, miamini, masaba, ye betu nkomo no so. Enti abusua, mo ama betu so a mo hwe me nyina no. Mechiachi obi bia, I hope say nyame adom, ye nyina ye ho ye. Send ya mekaye no. Please subscribe to Sika Educate on YouTube or Tom and the face so no. Bra be follow Sika Educate no so a ewo Facebook so. We ya medawasi. Onyankopon so obehira wo. Enti ana no me pese edi nkomo bi a eya na yen ye ma no titiriw no. We really don't like to talk about this issue because it is too painful. We want to shy away from it. Yeah, society near community near maybe sano. We've been raised to just accept it as part of life and yamfansha baby and brush over it. But I know that there are lot of people and it has far-reaching consequences and effects on people. And even though I know but I still want us to talk about it. Na sa stronghold no sa ade na achichiri emu bia yentimi nyan ma ye ho nsane ne nyan ya hoto no ene whatever ties, whatever stronghold ade bia ya echichiri wo bia ne ye bisane sa ade no na ho gwanya wo fa hodi. Ekuya Sika menya pastor, menya deaconess, menya prophetess menya hwe me obi a me ye de bonye ni anyame wahu me mobo. But before I go on, I just want to say a bebompa eketwe bi. Even if you are not a Christiania, enya we a Muslim, anasa we atheist kra no a, anasa obi a wonim se nyame wo ho no a, mesrew. Just give me 1 minute na me mfa nie me ɛsɛ meye ansa na matoa nkɔmmɔ yi so. Enti mumie mompaye. Wonyame a woyɛ nokwafo yɛda wase ɛsɛ wamma yɛn saa bere yi mu ɛsɛ yɛmmɛdi saa asɛm wei ɛho dwuma. Ano ɔden, emu ɔden. Ɛyɛ ade a ɛde wɔ yaw, amanneɛ ɛne awerɛhoɔ ɛma yɛn mmaa ne mmarima bebree. Ɛnso ɛnɛ deɛ yɛtu dɛ yɛsi hɔ sɛ yɛbɛdi saa nkɔmmɔ yi. Ɛbɛhyehye ɛbɛyɛ yɛya. Nanso yɛnim sɛ wadom ɛne wo wahumɔborɔ nti no wobɛhu yɛn mmɔbɔ, wobɛboa yɛn. Awerɛkyekyerɛ bi a wɔasɛm yi mu wobɛkyekyere yɛwerɛ. Na afei nso so baabi ekuro biara nso wamiamia ho atɔ yɛn. Yɛda wase adom no nti. Amen. Okay, nti yɛbrɛ a yɛayɛ wei awie no. Yɛka so obi anya miscarriage a ɛdeɛ ne kyerɛ. What does it mean when they say somebody has had a miscarriage? What does that mean? In our African setting, Ghana for no, we use a lot of terms in a layman's language. Into miscarriage, and fancy will be nyam. That's when to me and will be no me and fair niagra ni miscarriage. Me krana sana na me juni. But me yem pense mo hwehwe mu no. Abehunu ne say miscarriage enyin say a every first week no ade ko 20th week no. Ehun kotochima wentimi anko wakola baby amfa ho amfa oba no. Eho ene ef kan say oba when you miscarriage. Women that are lose their pregnancies between the 1st and the 20th week, not just the first trimester no anko see beginning of 2nd trimester no. Who loses our pregnancy na ene kan say when you miscarriage. It's if you're able to carry your pregnancy through the 1st and even 2nd trimester no be sia. Nese fe mistake bi koba enyinse no ho. As a baby no went me and survive am wan no. Every 20th week no ade kosa obewo nene de. Eno no your friend say nipa nenya stillbirth. Na enti your friend say 1st to 20th week no mra kosua no ene sokopimpim ho nsuo no aba abehia mu no ehia saa first 4 months no na de afomi amanipa no ese na baabi ese na koma kɔhyɛ ho baabi a nani wo ne hwene na so ne nan kyese bibia ye organ bia no efomi wo saa first 20 weeks ni mu but every 20 weeks no dey kɔ no na eniema esese ehyehyɛ ho eye nipa nyina no aba abɛhyɛ ho awie enti ne na aka ne se flesh beba abɛka body no ho na fe organs no ho se ne bɛyɛ bibia besisi so na ya akɛse enough se efe baby na ye ready se wo bepi enu nti na ade na ye nipa awie no efi 20th week na ekɔ no e ka ne se ade no we still birth enti si e ka so obi anya miscarriage na efiti se nipa no onyinsan ya beka 20th week no eno ene ye miscarriage. Anything above and beyond that no stillbirth. Enti eno ade edikan a mepese ye nyina no yete ye ho ase. Ye research nso a ye nhwehwemu no ye hunu ne se ye nipa be se du bia a wo monyem edisi ho a baako anase mienu ya chese 10 to 20% of pregnancies biano miscarriages etimi bem. So that is a statistic I ho. I say out of every 10 pregnancies there is the possibility say 1 or 2 of them no etimi nkwa anymore na ebeye miscarriage asem. Na ade nso ekofa miscarriage ne ba ne se emra kosua no ne sokopimpim nsuo no kohia no there wasn't a possibility say the egg and the sperm no ebetimi form ama fetus netimi develop ye. And if there's any ebia chromosomes ni genotype no hu bibi kotochima and answer when there's something seriously wrong no, unfortunately no, yes you fell pregnant but the eggs weren't viable enough to be able to sustain say fetus no betimi develop further no wanyini eno nti na wakonya sa miscarriage no. One thing that I want to put out as a disclaimer is that Ekuyasika is not a medic. Menya doctor, menya nurse, menya midwife. I'm just somebody who is passionate about health issues, especially women's health issues. One, because I'm a woman. Two, because me and Kasanso me were health issues in Ibi. It is only fair that I share some of the experiences and the lessons and the education with your fellow women. And so that is why I do what I do. So that is the first disclaimer. Ekuya Sika is not a medic. Okay? Okay. Number two, so I'm a person can say, I use myself as an illustration a lot of the time because I myself have fertility issues. And for example, obi a wɔwɔ PCOS, polycystic ovaries, yeah, yɛbɛka akyerɛ wo sɛ ovaries no ɛntumi release viable eggs a yɛtumi ɛde ɛkɔ nyinsɛn ho. You mustn't be surprised that people that have that kind of an issue at a higher risk of developing, your friend is saying, miscarriages in pregnancy. This thing is something that is very, very common, much, much more common than a lot of us would like to admit, a lot of us want to talk about. But I just want us all to understand, say, miscarriage, yadia, atutu nipa bebre. You know somebody who has had a miscarriage. It might be your friends, your family, whatever, but when you be. Even stillbirth, yenim krofua, yenina yenim obi a wanyem ya wentimi ankare nyinse na mfa nkwawie. We all know people like that. Nti eyade a ewo ye society, yen Africa for, yen Ghana for man, ewo ye ntamu, but because of the pain associated with it, a lot of us don't like to talk about them. But I just felt the need to say, if we are going to own our truth, if we're going to move forward as a people, as a man, some of the issues that are hard to address, as painful as it is, and who here see a bad dresses so that the people who are suffering in silence with these issues would at least have a little bit of consolation and have the tools and niyama essential a bit mia boa womu. Na woma free sa biana womu nimu. Miscarriages, as I said, is not bibia a young one na se subi mada yenina yenimobia when you be. Now, critically, in the first 12 weeks of a nyinsembiano, this is the time when pregnancy is so critical. Minim say no ntino ma bebre nyinsen aya na the first abosume miensa ne yempese obi akwa be hu si nyinsen because you don't know what is going to happen. Yeah, ma'am, some of them used to tell us things and create a lot of reasons to be I am making sense of why they're doing what they're doing. But to me, having seen and understood what goes into miscarriages, the first trimester is a very critical time. And so because of that, a lot of us are told not to make any big public announcement about pregnancy. Our first trimester. And there's also scientific evidence that proves to say that first 12 weeks, that is where the bulk of a say happens. A lot of the time, especially those of us who have a lot of very painful periods, ade no betumi aye nyinsen kra say abra wonnim say miscarriage na wo have because of that same 12-week asem ya making bia we dey 2-3 weeks ya na besen ye nti bia last month unya period this month we say nya biom. It feels a bit more painful, but there isn't anything exceptional bia until a lot of us have lost pregnancies without even knowing say sa na asem netie. Sister Jordan, how are you, my darling? I miss you. Me who say now we can topic be ene. Nanka say we invite me, mama kasa topic ni bi. And till next time when you're talking about it, my love, please let me know. I would like to contribute to Sasem. What are some of the symptoms? A dear ben near man a yewa, a bemu who said, menya miscarriage. Sister, so who quiets or copim pim nivi? Nase. Sis, who quiets or copim pim nivi? Now, when you some way, now quiet pregnancy test, and now who said, the first 12 weeks of that time, you should watch out for a few things. Normally, say nyinsa ba no a ɛsɛ nka at that time ni nyinaa kosi sɛ wobɛwo baby no mpɛpii no ɛsɛ nka bra ne gyae kosi sɛ wobɛwo baby no. But some people start exhibiting spotting. We start ɛsɛ wɔ hɔ a na mogya bi abɔ ko na gyae 3 days na asamba na wonya pain kakra then it intensifies. Sister, in that first 12 weeks of an insane, when you start having those kinds of symptoms, you moja ebenne na so ne chine jai na san start biom no ade ne pese say men tena ho men count san shemu ma en count nine mo ho say no, I am not going to accept this and spiritualize anything. Ade ne pese say fako hospital near ni ho dwuma mfa ma wo nyame na onya doctor ubetimi abọ mpaye no kre atu ubọ mpaye a kire nyame esu onhu mobo no na wama wo mo a ya ma mo nimdi a mutimi ehwe nyinsen ho asem so ka no omadi hu dwuma edi ama. I'm pleading with a lot of us because wonyim no a it is not just a matter of baby no a wo pese wo save no wankasa na wakọ nyinsen no ho no so wonso wonkwa hia. Sister Joe says, sis, I couldn't hide any of my pregnancies in the first trimester because I was showing 2.5 months in. You are speaking facts, pa. Sister Joe, I can believe that. Mo musu sane de, mo ho dane enche ni ehunu. Ni ache mo se makoye sokopimpim na akofa asem e de abremu. Each individual is different. But what I am saying though is that you don't also want to be in everybody's face. Look at me, I'm pregnant. No. You don't need to make any public announcements. Just in case you say baby ko sisa 12 week no mo. Na nya fe na wo san be ye kasa tintin bi akọ explain bibia. It is a painful traumatic experience for a lot of people. Enunti ena me kania me kam. Hey, Sister Aisha, Sister Ramani. Oh, I'm so excited. My friends are all here. Stella, Adama. Oh, Meniaji. And see, these are some of the symptoms. Unya abdominal pain. Pains. Bia. And explain that, Sister Mr. And also Fako doctor near her mouth. Because having pains, exceptional your friend is abdominal pains in pregnancy and also so normal kona correct doctor oko na doctor no show hu nyina no see there's nothing for you to worry about, sister. You just come home. But if there is a problem and it is caught early no you betimi edi hu dwuma edi ama. Enti obi be say ye dia ben dia makra ntima ya ananse me ya ananse ye kofefa sa miscarriage si edeba. There are some factors that put you at a higher risk of such things developing or happening to you. The first thing on the list is age. It is good to have children, and the sooner the better, because if 18 they equal 25, that is when we women are in the prime of our life when it comes to fertility. But no kwenun so a woman say, and then mu so aba 18 na da so to maami fie no mu maami koko ne nkwan. 22, 23 na fe na bi a wo wie university eno nti na twe a wo sem no kwa animu. But se wonnim se awo ho ye den ma because of niema bi a ye o te se me mekoya for example yi. Menim se me wo PCOS no a. Ukwane ekokohwehwe mu because of symptoms bi a wonya bi a wo period ne mantem anase ba moja tu bebre no na de kwane ehwe mawa. Based on o diagnosis na ye de be ma you can make an informed decision about what you're going to do with yourself going forward. I've talked about this thing a lot of the times, using my own situation as an example. Say, I have PCOS. I didn't have all of the facts and informations at the time. Sa window no ana me here me de be make a decision. Na me nim send ya PCOS no what it meant fully and understand the implications of what it is. Emra me beti ase no. Na sa me time no etwam because I was well into my 30s, almost going into my late 30s. And until say na menya 40 years no. Ebema awo no. Eho ayedin because kosua no kra no me die no me ntu bibiem. My ovarian is less than 5%. Nti me machechire me re na mtem baby. Wonyame che me bia from conception to delivery. Wono abeye me ho nsenkyerene but me see hey say me ame die. And I've said that a lot of times to you guys publicly. It's a secret be any. Now, it's the age, who do 35 no 35 no de konwa. I say no. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, my darling sister Sandra. That's what it means. Where Sika educates ya if you scroll back a while to say, I think it was December 30th and I said 31st. I explained in big detail what polycystic ovaries means. And this sounds also now called YouTube, Sika Educates YouTube channel. No, so you will see last week I uploaded a video explaining what PCOS is. Into Mr. Kokohesa video, no, so that you get a better understanding about what PCOS is, my love. Into no age, when you're 35, no, no. I say no, you better consider say pregnancy no, and say your desire to wanting to fall pregnant no be a high risk. Ninti etisa ne say by that age of 35 no already miscarriage no a 20% risk. Wudru 40 a 40% chances are de no be say. Would tra 40-45 no dia a 80% chance say ade no e be say. Entino, don't wait until you're in your mid 30s going and san wako because there's a whole host of issues that arise which just complicates everything. I'm not saying say when you're 35 I won't mean maybe mami o me catch them so 40 kura watra. But what I am saying though is that sa pregnancy ni a considered high risk. Wobre. Womu ntemu a womu twen edru late 30s 40s anymore. If you ask them, they will tell you the truth that those pregnancies were not easy pregnancies and there's a reason biologically for that. Emma wohu you free 18 and they got 25 no. As I said before, we are very in the prime of our youthfulness. Yehodne eniyama sisi baby sisi Utra honwa de 30, 35 and 40 no, the body begins to change. We women are always experiencing hormonal changes. Our your body nim. Now to say me mekuya na say if it no 12 years. Who issue that efa hormonal issues so ho. Who bedu 40 no. Na wabre inside even if physically you're ujina na so no. When it comes to our wasem no, wabre wa until it makes options and could be full to them no would be limited. And if you know say I was some year be a wo pesa we ye chinchina dia, my advice would be say as soon as possible when you can get it done. Don't leave it till you're well into your 30s and 40s, especially when you know say you have fertility problems. To say me mekuya mte yeah, me what polycystic ovaries. Don't wait till you're 45. FA na woko uba udikai with an 80% chance to say adie no kra no emfa. So that is the first thing I would say. Into age is one of the precursors to miscarriages. The second thing, and Mrs. Tajodo is alluding to it with what she just said, has to do with one kasana person. Do you have a clean bill of health? Who are you able to say diabetes? Insulin, another hormone, honsensem. When your diabetes, either now, san kofa enyinsen, the trauma of enyinsen so beka ho a, it is difficult. It leads to complications bebree. And the fetus might just not be able to survive the stresses and strains na with diabetes put on organs and that na enyinsen no so a feed on sa organs kro no anso so no eno nso abeka ho. It can be too much for a diabetes body to be able to handle. Enyinsen, it is not that easy. Enipa bebree fam free obi wo ho a say or trabe madrum so kra with nyinsɛn, and some people do it so easily and effortlessly. Say everybody thinks that pregnancy is easy for everybody, but it treats different people differently based on senya already musitie, senya wapon mu den esitie. And this all goes back also into our eating habits as people. Makanim pain bebree say back in the day, they were very active people. Manual heavy labor adwuma na no omo kuya, omo fishermen, omo hunters, omo ko hunting hours, omo nante, for miles on end. Iti bibia na omo die fufuo ne ampesie ne bode ne nyina wo be nante obe exercise ne nyina be wi no na atwetwe ne ho. Atenemrem de na ehu. Ekuya sika me se maka school edu animu a mete hei. Me adwuma a me se eye adwuma den a me ya me sisi ne me ho nyina ya me ye. Eye computer chi na mete. Enti se me nso me beta fufuo ne bode ne ampesie ne se se na me na wodokuya no wo ye no a. Me pra me ho. Type 2 diabetes is a lot has to do with healthy lifestyle. And that is the more common version of a sichiriaria ene ewo asasi so. Some people are born with it because they don't have enough insulin. But the more common version of diabetes has to do with lifestyle. Niyama woye, niyama udi. Sister Aisha say every pregnancy is unique. Every human body is unique too. Your bodies are not the same. It doesn't matter if you look the same, physically, we are the same. Genetically and inside, no two human beings are ever the same. It doesn't mean and that is why you have to know who you specifically know. And so now obey bibia. Why? It also mean man so some people have wider cervix or cervix and so. If you have that kind of an issue now, and also so timima very easily. Problem issue and typically for people like that they may stitch them up a bit when they fall pregnant and now see a beka set baby have bed rest until say will be to me I was akola why who so adwuma nante kakra so pe na de na besile. Another big thing that happens to some women and why some women have miscarriages. The other thing is also your thyroid, immune system. If you have issues with your thyroid and difficulties with and some people have to have a surgery because they have an over productive or underreactive thyroid, and also the honsem and a deba. Again, if you have autoimmune illnesses and then things to do with lupus, any multiple sclerosis, we thought to say but it is very much within the African setting. So Ghana and Kofu, they suffer with lupus. and a friend is saying MS ne ho nkro ne ba bebree. Some people who have a friend is saying sickle cell anemia ne ho nkro ne ba. Almost nkrofo ne nyinaa are high risk for pregnancies. Now sickle cell anemia no so ye wo mu ahodo bebree, and everybody is different. I know some people that are just carriers, omo ye AS nso so bue na bibi ya ye no. SC ne SS for nso bebree wo ho no mo a, SS being the worst form no koyie. Nti obi a wote saa no a wo saa problem no dada no, depending on what your symptoms are like no, doctor betimi atu fu say sister, don't go near saa nyinsensem no, because already no your body no is under a lot of stress to keep you alive. Nti menkofa nyinsen sanfa nkoka ho. Me dofo bi ana me ne wo ho. Sister isi chinchine china eseso wo. Ono nso ye sickle cell SS fo ni bia. Ye wo no bakro. But eja obi a wo nti ono nso beye. Sister no nso no anyini kakra. Wo anyini atra ne 30s ne de no okomu afan. Nti na nkensese wo tu saa na mo no, but she insisted on doing it. Nti no body no struggle ye with the nyinsen no kura no akosi bra na mra so si ebekwa akoyie. Wo ifa no ho. Wo ifa ne ba. That is what I should say. But me nua na nkasa de when free hospital ho bi, and she died because the whole trauma of carrying a pregnancy on top of ne yare ne senya na esitie no na aye too much ama ne body no me de yam fato ho. I know people who are in their a friend is saying, oh, more AS, any SS or multimia form back and live for several years. But as I'm saying, each human being is uniquely different. And until you know yourself and what your body can handle before you go throwing yourself into things. You see, we like to do things and follow the crowd and just do things for the fact of trying to prove a point to Obi. 3 days ago, me a video and I was asking women, say, what is the real reason why you want to be a mom? Do you want to be a mom because society says, say, we African niba, now go school directly, and now we need to penny fee so. That's all why, and now you're single crown why you seem rash to say, be a wooby, wooby. Is that your reason for wanting to be a mom? And I say, you have a motherly instinct to be a nyame, what they are showing, and you are able to nurture and develop and bring up a child. Enunti and na wo pese we ya mam. So answer me number 2 no. Then it doesn't really matter whether the child is biologically yours or or otherwise. But if your reason is just number 1, na ya catch we say wuntimi nye, na ya aswoden no a, na a lot of people put themselves unnecessarily through things I have catch we say sister menye. And yet you insist to say chinchina obey. I will use myself as an example yet again in this issue. I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I've had it for 28 years. I am managing my symptoms. I know, so say, by my very genotype, chronic illnesses, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, stroke. Ebi wa mebusu wa family nyina. Me ankasa nso me hormonal issues eno kra sama me predisposed to saa nyema no amabobọ so ni bi. Me hwe me redie no na me hwe medical nyema atoto me operation ahodo ne treatment ahodo hanaye no a. Me ankasa with me little nimdi a me wono me hunu ne say enyinsem kura at age 40, it is not a very wise decision to make if I indeed want to live long, survive and thrive. Intimi no machechire me aka kire me hu se so onyankopon no ankasa mfi esoro amma no ambefa ade na nsisi baabi esese sisie no ade hye me nsam dia kwesika is not going to go trying to do any funny niam bia IVF say me nye. That is my personal decision. But the fact that the point that I'm trying to make here, and so say, you can only make such informed decisions when you know where you stand. Ewo health ho. And na betimi ama we make a decision bi afa wa brabo no ho. Enti I know that I'm talking about miscarriages and stillbirths here, but the root cause of a lot of things also have to be addressed. As I hear this ankomo, no match will say, Mr. Usi so foforo. Na o period na nhyɛ da mma papa ɛba nnɛkyena na agyae na mogya taa tu bebree o period na nyɛ normal fo deɛ ne bia mesrɛ wo kɔ na kɔyɛ test a yɛbɛtumi akyerɛ adekodeɛ pɔte a ɛha wo ansa na wakɔ awareɛ no kora mpo mu. Don't wait until you get into a marriage and then be struggling with childbirth and and create a lot of issues for yourself. I do understand that there's some people that have had no issues, but issues no arise and no so. But for a majority of us, there are telltale signs much earlier on in the day. Especially those of us who live in Ghana, because you have to make a conscious effort and take certain actions to find out what is wrong with you. Niemu bebre no, yadwene mu no, say bibia ntochima wa ye ho, yensa da nti pain bia ye fa ne saa me de me period na ma eno ano no. It is not normal. So untwa bra na wanya 20, na wo period ba once a year, sister, is not normal. It is yes to escape. Mo amoya parents amutie mo ka ho. If you need to go pay a bit of money for your daughter to know where she stands with her health, no sister, please. Fanoko guy ne enhwe yenya ne blood test ne yenhwehwem ne hu ba bia wogina ne fei no yema na futu a ebetimi aboa no ama na hu ba bia wode ne ho e ba abesi. Asem biom so a mepese meka ne say there are certain people that are just by some unexplained reason more prone to miscarriages, and it runs in families. Maybe your honomu a ebi a wo maame obra wo ho the sisters bi wo ho a mo antimi an wo kra wo hwa wo nana nso line so a obi a wo maame ono nso ne nua no nyina no behu so obi wo ho a ba ko pe na otimi wo ye obi wo ho nso so a awo no kra makra. That is a telltale sign that there are things running in your genes, in your family. And because of that, as a third generation, the last thing I want to talk about is preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure in pregnancy, and also to me creating miscarriages. Me who be wo me amifi. Inti mesrel. So wo niam a mabubo so bi diabetes, we ya mame abrewa boga apese ukwenyi se, wo hormonal issues bi polycystic ovaries ka ho, we ya diabetes, wo lupus, sickle cell anemia, multiple sclerosis, autoimmune illnesses bia sister ema we ye immunity ne compromised da. Misrel. You should think and consider all these things in relation to your age before you decide that you want to do some of these things. And I'm getting on with it. And very comfortable in my decision-making process. Because for me, having a child is not about proving a point to anybody. Because at the end of the day, me a product too. Manufacturer, if you have an issue with my situation, go and ask him. There's no amount of insult or disgrace I will be able to media because I've accepted my position and I'm very comfortable with it. Yes, I want to be a mom. Yes, I would have wished to have been able to do it biologically, but if I can't, I just can't. And I've accepted that. Does that make me any less of a woman? No. Does that mean, say, mom show Debbie? Because there are other options available, and those other options also Now, there's three things that I also need to lay out clearly here, because And they have these myths and misconceptions about enema itimidi miscarriages ever. And I have to just tell you the truth to say. Number one, so unyin say, and I'm going to put a disclaimer here. Me pacho bi wasu ye neti ni America ni ye pa. Number one, so you don't otherwise have any medical complications. Wunni yare bia diabetes ni ho hwe ni ho. Na wo ho dendenden na yare bia amowo. Sister wunni nsan a. Eno nkyere se sokopimpim no. Esese ye di full stop si ho. Sokopimpim does not cause miscarriages. The disclaimer is that you have a clean bill of health. Yare bia ni so. We are high risk for bia. Maybe some of these things are not applicable to you, but I'm talking about people who are otherwise fit and healthy. So Kopimpim doesn't create a friend saying miscarriages. Number two, Ghana yanam pepi no obi saying we treat the person as if the person suddenly has a disability. But again, unless you are a high-risk pregnancy, anaasị will be a yadeɛ bi wɔ wo ho, adeɛ bi tochima wɔ ho nti wunyinsɛn no yɛ special case foɔ no bi dia. Adwuma does not cause any issues to do with miscarriages either. And number three, exercise koraa no, jogging, ɛho ahwani, it doesn't change anything. The only people that have issues, ebia o cervix na mo abie, enti e ma nante ebesei, ukoye exercise kotu emnika ebesei, woye adwumaden ebesei dia, wo no, ye ka kire o say onya body rest, onya bed rest enti trafie. Enya wo na medi o, wo dia wo ye high risk fo ni bia. Enti ye ka say da esese wo da. Ye ka say sorry a esese wo sorry. But me ka omo mapom ye di omutimi ba abre wa bebobofo no. So kopimpim fa nyinsense ye bia mfa ma. And I just hope that you guys have got what I'm saying clearly and you understand what I'm saying. Me started say me di sankomo me kan say ye de nyinsen bia say ya yesi nipa na nya miscarriage. But omo wo apomudin ho nimde no e me yeti ase say enyinsa na week 1 to week 20 a eno na miscarriage ni aka bia ye stillbirth. Nti afi no me pese ye ka stillbirth nso ho asem kakra. Before I go into it no, I want to tell you guys to say I have people that are close to me omafasa stillbirth semi nso ho. Me ankasa me ni a wo me. Wo me no, wo bre me ho. Ansa no wo me. Wo me na chire no. Emfie kakra achi no. Wo san fafuru. Wo faaye no. Enyinsa ni ekoya ko bosome nso ne fa. No wo san kra so ye be ma nti kenne nka me woni abema wodi machi a wo be ye soja no a protect me. Enso 7.5 months no. Me ma me chima kolai wo no a dead. Enti me nua abema no wo wi. Eno achire no me ma me nyinsa be se mienu miensa bi nso san se ye kra ansa na enuanu ma miensa a omudi machire no wo mu nyina timi bae. And so you see, I am not just talking about this thing about somebody who knows nothing or is not close to somebody who has had this kind of thing. I know what I'm saying. I have lived around people that have it. Missing Miami. And but I don't because of Sadi. Me want now fufu busuafo enuanu mu a mafa Sadi we. And so I'm not just saying anything. I have lived it. I have seen it with my own kolokolo eyes. Sister Nana Abna, see, I had a stillbirth at 28 weeks. My darling, my heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry. Say, Bibisa is here. And so these things are a lot more common than a lot of us will let on, than a lot of us are comfortable to talk about. Me see, because I prepare them topic, but ama and maybe are held as a stronghold between me bia a crowd more area when Nigeria was so because uba when you know and capes own Well, and that is the chain that I want to break tonight by getting us to become vocal about talking about these things, because it's a source of pain in our society and in our communities, and we need to talk about them. Niema bonsam aniu. Won say ade a obi betimi de adi watem say wa di kan kan ho asem a onipa no di watem a enye oye bi, because you've owned up to the fact to say this is something that is painful and I'm talking about it. But the more you hide, the more you sweep it under the carpet, no. And the nipa no otimi nya ho kwan. Ekuya sika mesi hoi. Minim sa me hwene so. Onyame na born sa, because onim se me hia mframa no. Oxygen na mo hwene susu anu mo hia no. Mo de no no so se me de me body no so ntimi hia mframa enough a metimi de ahom. Eno nti na me hwene na ti se na etie no. Enti me aminim se me hwene no so dada. Enti wudidi matem a emfa me ho. Ukase mafuno ese boflota. I already know that I have big cheeks. I've always done. Enti wudidi matem a, again, I don't care. But I don't care because me ankasa me nim me nokre e na magye atum. Menye nto wu na obi beka asa me hwene so a nke be ha me. Similarly, me nim sa ade yeah. It is a big source of grief for a lot of people. It is just too painful for a lot of people to talk about, and so people shy away from it. The less they talk about it, the better. But sister, brother, the more you talk about it, the more onim say kuro ni ya o yes hyehyw na obe mia na afiri ho no. Eho na kanka bi a wo hyem. Gogomi a wo hye kuro ni mu a wo ya wo ya no. The quicker you can get rid of sadie. We ne nso firi ho, sister. You live and have a fulfilled, exciting life. I'll use myself as an example yet again. A couple months, maybe a year or so ago, I don't think that I would have ever had the courage to sit here and talk to you guys about some of these things, because me ankasa no ekuro bi wo me ho eye me ya ekuro no ne se mintimi wo no obi antimi wo na me mintimi nye bi. When I found out that that was what was happening to me, finally, it was a difficult thing for me, because and accepting and coming to terms with what I had was difficult for me too. But because I owned up to the fact to say I'm going through a difficult situation and got the necessary help here to deal with the grieving process. You guys don't understand. You think it's the only people that grieve are the people that have lost children. What about those who can't have them at all? It is also another kind of grieving process for moving so. And for me to go through that period of pain and acceptance and all of that, it was a whole journey. And yet, it's a sinusoidal curve. Mass and physics, a course na bafom ne afro suna mera hono mesuna. I went through all of that. And now I come to a place of acceptance. Say, okay, there's nothing I can do about this situation. It is what it is. It is a choice I have to make. Am I going to be happy? Or am I going to allow myself to be enslaved by the pain of adia me shusha mintiminya horia? When you're missing my what can I do about it? So it is a choice that you have to make. Happiness a choice. How we make it. I am saying all of these things as a prelude, as we're talking about stillbirths, different types of stillbirths, and I walk on to say to you, I know you're hurting. I know it's painful. I know I know. But at the end of the day, my darling, you can choose to live and move on with your life, or be held hostage and bound by the pain and the grief of losing a child. Minim said, especially for people who don't have any other children. Maybe our first one, no. Maybe when your miscarriage is bare miensa. Finally, our wasenya kukudro se was number 3 ne de Ukari ya ko 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. Aka 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks amoawo. Wafa. And then some trauma, some tragedy happens. Eno nti nye mam bi. Very recently, I heard about Obia. Wo mami enu dada die. But this was a baby that she wanted because it was the other sex that she had wanted for so many years. Finally, no wenya. Now, finally, now wenya no, wono de miscarriage na ama ho. Otimi ye ya pa 20 week no ho. Eba 28 week kra pa ho. Aba 32 weeks apa ho. 32 weeks apa ho na fe wo be 36 no mfimfin ho baby. Umbilical cord na ewa akwala no ho a eboa ma niema bi kokọ akwala no ho. Umbilical cord na chichire akwala no kon. Ekuno. That is how she lost her baby. What would you do? Knowing say akwala hye wo mu ya wo nyini. Na cord akọ chichire ne kon. The child, for want of a better word, has been strangled to death inside of you. Obi de no. Minimo bi nso so a wonyin ya wo kọ no amu no midway somewhere no mbehu say ne blood sugars kosro. Into midway through the pregnancy no wenya gestational diabetes. Womo try because womo pese nro no so a yede ma no be affect akola no. It was a very difficult pregnancy all the way through. Sister no so ekura anyinsen no 7.5 months. That crone hunam ya no basa and they free who could see his sister. Long and short of the story, she lost the baby. The first pregnancy. Well, Lucy yan so Bema no one in the year no Bema no so say we are bay for when ye why when you were bushing for Makamutia go Maria Bofran into me crying there. You know, be pill be got. So she became sick because of pregnancy when you diabetes. Number 2, ade nti a wakonya diabetes no wahwere. Bema no nso wode ne bechichire ne re no. Bema no nso se mempe bi. 3 troubles, 1 God. Ade na be. I'm saying all of these things for you to know say you are not alone going through ade a wo fam. No ya ade edikan. Etosumi enu nso so no. Yes, there is the grief and the loss associated with miscarriages and stillbirths. And that is also a kind of grief. But there are also other types of grief too. The loss of a spouse is a form of grief. The loss of a source of grief. Adeɛ bi a wo pa wontimi nya sɛnea memekua meken. That is also a source of grief too. Obi a wobeku ne ho ahye ne ho akomfo a wodɔ no a wafiri ho. Source of grief because nipa no wanyare wonu a na make a decision. Obi nso a wodɔ no yare na ofiri mu a eno nso so ye grief. Enti there are different kinds of grief that people go through. Now I know that this is a peculiar type of grieving process because wo try say wo di akwala no beba na de na ntimi anye yi. Sister Abna say, this gestational diabetes killed my nephew. His mom went full term, but the baby died 2 days later after birth in Takoradi. Very sad. Stillbirth, no. Yawo ho ahodoɔ mmiɛnsa. Number 1 is early stillbirth. And the early stillbirth is miscarriage from week 1 to 20. Into ultra 20 now when you miscarriage be one beda stillbirth zone. It's from week 21 to 27 se nyinse no terminate And no ye early stillbirth. If we 27 no so they call 36 no. And no so ye late stillbirth. And anything after that, send your sister Abna came. It's a term stillbirth. And in this case, that is what happened to Ninuano. And the nephew, went to me and surviving. In Ninuano Bay, for example, was a very high-risk pregnancy because she had gestational diabetes because of the pregnancy. Nti ano no na me kan say wo bi a wasi so a wo pesa wo ware na wo wo. You want to know what your health status is even before you go start meddling with pregnancy. I don't know the ins and outs of Sister Abna send your mabusu musiti, but for some people, maybe diabetes is runs in your family. It is just waiting for one event to tip the balance. Me say, I will use myself as a classic example. Me see, diabetes is rife in my family, both sides. I have PCOS, which makes me even more predisposed to diabetes. It's obi a me hormonal imbalance issues from PCOS. Diabetes here rife for my family. Why would I want to put myself through a pregnancy, through IVF or whatever other means, knowing say background body no so nye? Why? What dream who you can see clearly say nyanse bieni. Nyanse bieni. I am not doing anything to stop a pregnancy from happening, but I'm also not going to go and force it to happen, is what I'm saying. It's maybe a term when I make IVF. A lot of people came in my inbox attacking me as if I'm saying IVF is a bad thing. I didn't say that. I never suggested that. IVF is perfect for some people, but IVF is not for everybody. And that is all that I'm trying to say. Sister Nana Bana was say, I have seen stillbirth in my family and it's troubling. My mom went through term 3 times, even twins, after she had me. 8 years later, my brother came after me. You see, classic case. Me die ya make ye bia no mini. Wo bre miscarriage no de be wu akua sika. Akua sika pregnancy no kra na nya easy. E ho nsem bebre. And I've had a whole host of health issues so after that. Umbilical hernia, and who sembebre. It's hey, ye chame maku dumiensa. Unyami adum bi kranti nam nenam ho, me kame chrew. Me tiwe me a miracle baby. On top of that, and my brother ne de went to me and survive. Enyinsen be mienu miensa kra san second ho. And san ye wumi nuanom a ekeka ho. It is difficult. Now, I also want to give encouragement and support to one more facet to sister Abena me are walking. And say, the downfall of a woman is not the end of your life. For some people who are brave and determined, say they want to do what they want to do, there is hope out there. You can still try again. But the one thing that I would say though, is that wofa sa pain nimu na wo go through sa grieving process, whether it is with a miscarriage or it is with a stillbirth, sister. The first point, the first thing that you need to do as a human being is to come to realization that this particular event, it happened to me. A lot of people don't, they pretend almost to say, I didn't lose a child. I don't want to talk about it. No, I crash a carpet. But inside, you are in pain. Some people are dying inside because of assembly. And until you face up to assembly, stare it in the face like this and own up to it, you are never going to make progress in your life. And to tell yourself, yes, I had a stillbirth. My baby died. Yes. Jitum. Accept the trauma now, because a lot of people know when we are stillbirth. At the end of 5 months, 6 months, no corner. SSS still, baby, no. Whether it's dead or alive. And that's what makes it even more traumatic for a lot of people. Because baby, no one names a but they induce labor. You go through the pains. Ube chim, ube wakolana. Kolana won, so just a one. Or come when ye try ye ti, SS will pee. Now, when nim say ube fasa brewe. At the end of the day, you cannot hold a living human being. Edding. My stillbirth was due to high blood pressure in pregnancy, eclampsia. Strangely, the high blood pressure disappeared after birth. God blessed me with a boy and a girl, and I'm grateful. And so it is testament to the fact to say, you can still have success at the end of the day. But it is painful for a heck of a lot of people. Some people don't even want to go down that line again. Some people are depressed, extremely depressed for a long time too. Sister Abena, from what I can see, she is coming to terms with her issue. And nunti na wotimi jina fidua so and share these deep-seated painful events I call so an abrabum with some of us near dear huno ne say a dear koso. It happens. A two obi. Nanse mubi, I had a story about Brony baby or in the mid-40s. Dr. Fuakache says she has a whole host of issues in tea. I was some one fan to baby, what pe bianemma. Emma kura metisui. Dr. Bian persuaded in Sabekano because of the issues. But she was also insistent that China obey. Into a America koko ye yama when ya a no de ba hase. What the buyer no? She was high risk. One, she was 45 into 80% chance of so obey Lucy. Efe wamu kwaye ni akɔhwɛ scan no so a enya baba ko and 9 quadruplets in the shame. Efe didimu 20 weeks a day kon 24 weeks year kon. Eni ehunu ne say fetus ne mienu no baby ne mienu no omo ho nhye da anya din. Womu prin so kase ye pese ye saving 9 nyina womu nyina bewu. Womu surviving. Inti eni sen 9 doctor for ya womu ho nimde no esese womu hwe na womu analyze na womu twi baby 9 nyina ho nsuo bi na womu test na womu hwe se emu de hin na ebe save emu de hin na ebe ye free mu. Womu ye na esi ekumienu emane kamienu. But she had to carry the whole 4 no kusi se mrebe so ame ayi omu nyina because any stresses and strain co-uterus no ho a 4 ni nyina nso be. Iti ebedru baby a doctors na dane nyame, they played God. Eni wo mpanie wo mu a yefiri se wo mo ho nya den ne ho edum ja wo mase their heart stop beating just so that the other 2 would survive the pregnancy no until such time ayi wo mu. It is our story no na megusu a me fa me ankasa me issues na me kan ho asem ho nti no I was single me nukra ne me soon because me a me ntimi nye me so a obi a waye ne de na how would you feel? The trauma of that thing is enough to drive some people insane forever. It's your my bre. Ye bre. Enunti suna. Esese mema womu wo we bi no. Womu tuche edema yen. No womu doyen. We need that. And that is what has happened to Obi. Me kasa stories in different scenarios no de tutu ye nyinaa ye fu ahyehyɛ ye nyinaa ye nkran say, yes, I know that your situation is bad. I know, say, you've been through something that is really bad and traumatic, meaning. Ewom say me nyin say that, ewom say me nya miscarriage that day, but grief is grief. And I said that the first thing that you have to do, if you truly want to recover from pain, the first thing you have to do is to own your truth. Accept the fact that you went through a period in your lifetime where you say, yeah, baby, nentimi no wa mefia alive. Jitum said to sister, wakuma shem mana say, it feels like your very heart is being ripped out of your chest. Do what you have to do to get rid of that pain. If it means crying, sister, soon. Because way, yes, you be our done with free more. You cry, you scream, you do whatever you have to do. In that exact same way, no, this is also another type of grief. And to go through that grieving process properly. Trying to cut corners, not talk about it, remove it, and pretend that it does not exist, it's not going to make you heal any faster. In fact, it's going to delay the pain. And that is even worse. Take it from one who knows. And to face up to what dear feel when you say, now stare it in the face and own up to it to say, yeah, dear way, yes, sanity. Me machechiri me re nti me si wo ya me se me ni ba na we kura na we kura we ntimi nwa emfa me ho because I've consoled myself already. My ya me ho adro dada. There's no amount of anything that anybody is going to say now that is going to upset me anymore than it used to. Because I've taken that power away from everybody else. I used to give it away freely to people for years. But Majimadi. Into will be cast and I wouldn't ba and I wouldn't mean and family who be. And that is where I want you to get to too. That is where you have to get to. The second thing I want to say is that in our African settings, in our Ghanaian communities, counseling, mental health, emotional support, and Africa for we are not too conversant with that, or even if we are, no, you want to say it is a sign of weakness, but it isn't. Baby, sister, own up to it, oh brother, own up to it. Part of my process of healing and recovery was accepting that I had the problem. It was causing me pain. I was grieving. But going on from there, me doctor couldn't come. Me catch it and say, "Dear Sumesia me ya." Ama me intimi na intimi pese wo me na me di ho dwuma. And I was referred to a counselor wo me. Counseling and the concept of therapy seems very foreign to a lot of us Africans. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to talk about it. But the fact is, it is a good healing process for Niama Bibri. This being part of it. And that is why I would see a broya chiwa hase baby no a same way bitowa. They send you and refer you for counseling. Counseling is offered to anybody who has had a miscarriage or stillbirth in a life. I don't know send your situation next year Ghana, but I had the. And so I'm asking you, I am pleading with you. As a number one, own up to the fact that adia ye we ya ube subusumi a subusumi na ahunto. Na yi sa ya oni be free ukuma no so. Etosumi no, go and get help. Go and seek help medically, physically, psychologically, emotionally, get help. Menka se kokachire osofo. So osofo no, if he is not a trained will be a wenim a friend is a mental health ni emotional support to hunim dia. And yes sofo asem na me can get professional help from a counselor wenim ne woye. Especially somebody who specializes in this particular area of treatment and healing. Because woman were both theoretical and practical nimdeɛ and tools a ɛbɛboa wo as a woman to cope and get through a problem no. Won say yemu bebree no, menka say nyame ni hɔ, mimi nyame di pa. I love pastors, I love deaconesses, I love everybody, and each person in the body of Christ, has a role to play. But there are just certain issues that are not holy, a friend is saying, tonguing and tongue speaking, this idea. There are certain things that go beyond that, and this is one of them. Get proper therapy. You need the proper tools, foundations, and building blocks to be in place. Send your baby a copy through a process and get it. Get it. Uhia. Own it and tell the truth to yourself. Ese uhia. Menka se mompaye. Menka se nsum frenya me. Menka se no pastor mo humpaye. All that is good. Necessary. There's a place for that. But I am talking about getting specific help related to wasemi. And there are people who are more than qualified to help you to do it, even if you have to pay, sister. Ebra yebre ni sika ye pay nyina ade enti ni yebre. Si ehun beto yen. You don't want to be moving along with the burden and the grief and the pain associated with child loss. Miscarriages in stillbirth, going down the line. Minim sister bia, if we say when you miscarriage, 1% ni kunu krade ne ho beka ne biem. She doesn't want. Na no aware ne beda ye. She say wadani kunani. For the past 10 years, she's still grieving baby Awolusu 10 years ago. Obviously, that person does not have the foundations and the building blocks to desire to even move on with their life and live that thriving, successful, and exciting life. Anyame, wo purpose maye. Otini niyama niya dosu, nensu nyame yi yemfiri ni nyina mu. Menye fairness and deaconess, but I'm telling you, without a test, there is never a testimony. Never. Na why me? Emanin to na kentu hwan. Because a lot of us, Yesu says soon, mimi soon be. Adentina mina sa so we ato me na mema ninto why na on the fatano. Nti yen ye ba asase so no nipa no ode ye ba e wan mahye abobi ase ye mebre o anase ye mfate bia bi mu. He never said that. Nti these things happen. They happen to people. Enunti na ato. When nyame mfa sudie bia nso ma wo so a anase wo ma ho kwan ma sudie bia ma wo so a wonni kon a wo betimi de carry sadie. And if you're going through a period of pain, it is not over you. You have the strength to carry sadie. And what I am saying is that own up to what you have and go get the help and know say the sadness and the grieving last for a night. The sorrows and the weeping last for a night. And the joy comes in the morning. But joy in the morning no. Ejina send you so brain obe organize wo afa. And the joy no. Etimi aba morning no. And I'm telling you that the most essential thing is to get help. Get help. Why no no? Na yama building blocks no a ebeboa to cope with your grief and be able to still have a life no. Ubetumi etu gidi anamo. Nyame nso etu ne nhire aguso. And just maybe you'll be able to get where you want to get to. Na se mpo yesi ade na wo hwehwe no enye saa na opese wo de ma wo no a, you can still move on and you can still live a happy and successful life, thriving life going forward, fulfilling your destiny as a human being. That is where I am at. Because in Kamen so metimi ahye dem na meso adi abobo se nyame ene went me ama me ba ne bi na me fra bilisi na 10 years na me hye dem no my answer bosom hye dem. How is that going to help anything? How is that going to help anybody? But I have been able to find help and get the building blocks to deal with my own grief of not being able to have what I want myself. And I'm now at a position where I'm able to help and support other people. Number one. Number two, the fact is, I am very busy living my life, fulfilling the destiny na me fulfilling. And I'm not wasting any more time on the surface of the planet, just thriving. And one answer me, sorry. No, I'm busy living my life because I have one shot at life. And that is what I am trying to encourage you. To say, Sister Abena, one fast at the and say, my heart goes out to you. Miss Renyame, as one whom mobo. But beyond that, no. There can't be any works until you have shown that you have faith and believe in him. That is what he needs to be able to set the reactions in place. Yes, faith without works is dead. Oh, me Jimudi, I believe. Lose talk to Anamon. Show him that yes, me how ni nabrel. It will deal with it. Yes, cast your burdens onto Jesus because he cares for you. Say, come to me while we are heavy laden and burdened, and I will give you rest. Come on, say, maba minie. Come ne kyerɛ sɛ wagye atom sɛ asɛm wei atom. Adeɛ yɛ ayɛ me ama na ayɛ me ya. Me di yaw. Buana bɛsɔ me mu. That is one. Two. Waso awie no. Wakɔ akɔpɛ mmoa. Every 1 year, wɔwɔ nimdeɛ a wɔtumi boa nkurɔfoɔ a wɔdi yaw ne afiri yawdie nim. Ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ wo ba no wura bɛfi no. Ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ adeɛ na esi yɛ no wura bɛfi. Sɛbe mpɛ aduasa. Yadɔfo wu a yɛwura mfi. But yɛkyekyere yɛwura nya ahoɔden a yɛde pem so wɔ abrabɔ nim. Saa ahoɔden no ɛna mepɛ sɛ yɛnyɛ mmaa no a yɛfa saa stillbirth ne miscarriage ne mu no yɛn nso yɛkyekyere yɛwura ne yɛpa ahoɔden a yɛde bɛpre so akɔ yɛn nim ɛwɔ abrabɔ nim. Minim sɛ ɛya. Minim sɛ ɛden. Sister Nana Abena asɛm a wɔkɛn awerɛho. 8 months, 8.5 months, 6 months. Hey, 2 weeks kura yeah. Because when it does so, it's a baby beba. 8 months, the wakoto baby caught a real to stroll a real painting with them cray at to pampers in our chain baby. Baby, I'm mafia. Edding. Let us own up to all of that pain and find ways of coping and getting on with that is what I'm saying. And if all that I've said so far no, makes sense to you, no, I entreat you that it is time for you to face up to what has happened to you. Let us acknowledge that it happened. And by the way, a point to be I'm a person me making so soon they say, man be brain because we are the carriers of a nyinsɛn. We feel that a young kwana dear na And a lot of times we forget a mema no so so a wobo ka ho a enyinse ne baaye, thinking that they are not going through anything. Sister, and I'm saying yama mremu ne yeka se bema nsu na men are not allowed to express and show emotion and pain, the men suffer in silence. Okotena ne ka mu a obesu wo ho apepa n'anim aba abetena fie abetena wo nkyɛn, but men equally grieve when these things happen. And nti mpɛn pii no nya mmaa no nko ɛne ɛma ɔmo yɛ counseling no mmarima no nso ka ho bi. Even though I know so wo ɔbaa no wo ne wafa saa tebea no mu afa saa trauma no mu. Nti let us also talk about that nso so and know that these are things that happen. Abusia, I know that this topic is not a audacious topic, and yet idea yasri somewhere ye nijia ye nyina yebe commenting na, you know, we have our body juices flowing, but it is also something that happens that we ought to own up to and talk about, even though we don't really like to. Because the pain associated with this thing has held a lot of people in hostage situations. I want to mean the ability to move on. And lack of progress and not being able to move on is a very sad issue and a sad state of affairs. A war is not for everybody. And you'll be an iridian, a man who quite as will be to me. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but that is what it is. But what I do also know is the fact that when you can't live a fulfilled life. Baby na wawo no, enye no na bema visa and answer passport ade beko heaven. God is not going to judge you based on how many children you have. It is ade na emu biasi anibre. Ni ade ensa gu yeti because ade na yentimi nye ni abeko heaven ni bi. But enti sa no a enya wo a wo ye enne de wo konkwaje mu dear sister. I know it's something that you wish you could do, but unfortunately you can't for whatever reason, or you've lost a baby. But it is time to own up to it and move on with your life, because there's still a heck of a lot of things that you have to do. One fa one fa nko wo mu anyame tasoma moja di omu afusa na ene de na ni daso wo ho na dwumadie kese bi wo ho a wode ahye won sa wo na sese wo ye sa de nti amra so se yebeti nisuo kakra yate nisuo na wie no yebepepa yanim anisuo no na yachichire yere na yakokopa na koyani is what I'm saying. So those of you who are going through it, I am sorry. I really well and truly am. From the depth of my heart, when yamenfa ubanekra ensie. But beyond that, it is time for you to arise as a person and move on. People make it so difficult for more fast still bear for side, because a lot of people are showing big. It will be correct to me who said a frona that's so. Hey, it's the baby neighbor. Meanwhile, you know, say 4 weeks, 1 month ago, the baby not besting, but your body is still going through sadly, and until na body no, come back to what it was. That is even more. Any ahoɔden no wonyame wɔma yɛ ahoɔden a yɛbɛtumi de akokopa no na yɛdi nkonim ɛwɔ saa adeɛ wei. I hope that what I've said today is going to help you to begin to realize that there is more to life than this pain that you're bearing. Than this pain that you're bearing. That you're not alone. And you won't and you are not going to be the same or the lone person at all. Sister Aisha, God bless you so much. I love seeing you here. And that's it for all your contributions, your words of support and encouragement. Sister Nanabna, Wonyame, wonhyiraw. It took a lot. I can imagine. So it has taken you a lot for you to come out and be telling us, very close, personal, detailed information. Say, a foul situation. Wonyame, wonhyɛ wo den. Wonyame, wonkura wo mu. Wonyame, wɔnnom wo no nhyira wo bibi a woyɛ biara mu. Nti abusua, pɛpɛ dɛm akuya sika video ɛnɛnɛ mede abɛto dwa. Ɛnya awerɛkyekyerɛ mfama wo. Wonyame mfa so, the sound of my voice no Onyankopɔn wɔmfa so. Na ɔmfa mmie new window of opportunity bi mfa nkyerɛ wo to see that it is time for you to move on. It is time to own up to your pain. And it is time for you to move on with your life. And I send you sit here. Then who say, and that's what baby. And in summary, today we've talked about the differences between miscarriages and stillbirths. That is what we've talked about. We've talked about some of the risk factors. Itimi masa nyame bisano, itimi si. In conclusion, pray to your God. Move on with your life. When you say no, sister, the first trimester is the most critical time of your life, and that of a fetus. No? Whilst you're praying and doing the needful, no? Surround yourself with good people. And the whole stress and pressure of nimo for so that you can have positive energy and vibes around you. Susukasa. Talk less, pray more. Eat healthily. Ma onanyen tientia ewo folic acid. Take and eat the right things. Food supplements are to withstand the stresses and strains of pregnancy. Stick to those. Those of you who watch these videos from me, you know that I'm a health enthusiast and I use food supplements from fresh fruits and vegetables. A support immune system, no maniko yi, Juice Plus, Konako Pebi, to support your immune system. If this is really a course, a person will undergo. Yeah, no more. We are still wanting to fight and have a healthy and positive life, and so we're doing it. Sister Ajodo, very informative program. Well done, sis. Stay blessed. Stay blessed too, my darling. I love you. Mwah. I know that this is not an exciting video. I know that it is something that lays heavy on a lot of people's chest, but I hope that this video is the beginning of healing for a lot of us. That is the whole purpose of doing this. Inti wonyankopon wonhyiraw wonyame wontuni nhyira mfangu so ade nyina mu wonomo. May everything that you desire this week come to pass in your life. Ewe Yesu dimu. Adum ninti. Amen. Subscribe to Sika Educates on YouTube. Follow Sika Educates on Facebook. I am pleading with you. Mwana mubebuami. Aman sensemi bia etimi atretre. Na eni peses wo mutie nyina wo mutimiti bie. Help me to help you. I am pleading with you. God bless you. Have a fantastic week. Stay beautiful and keep believing. Bye-bye.
Sika Educate. Yeah, what Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. Sika Educate. Sika Educate. Yeah, Kasafa Abumde, our real impunto. Sika Educate. Sika Educate. Or down come up, run a yanya, who are true. Sika Educate. Sika Educate. Unyani baby, Sika Educate. It's like a page, you know, I am vibe. Mama Denko YouTube ho, subscribe it. Sika Educate is the name. All our man them so said he come for. inspiration, motivation. Wapomuden education. Wafranada, Wanitia, or don't come or Ekusika deba. Wafranada, Bema, Jai, or don't come or Ekusika deba. Sika educate, yeah, what Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. Sika educate, yeah, Kasafa, Apomuden, our